So I'm extremely happy and honored to introduce the third session, How to Facilitate Intercultural Programs with Storytelling. This session will be held by Joanna Sell. As Joanna will train us about storytelling, please make yourself comfortable and listen to this beautiful story. The afternoon of May 13th, 2020, people decided to come together to listen and debate on the topic of storytelling. The theaterians, that is the Italian task force, invited Joanna Sell to train them. But who is Joanna Sell? Joanna Sell is an anti-cultural narrative coach, trainer, and facilitator, founder of Intercultural Compass consultancy, specializing in global teamwork, cross-cultural leadership, and of course, storytelling. She's the co-founder of the Beyond Storytelling Network and the co-organizer of Theatre Europa conferences in Valencia 2015 and Dublin 2017. I want to say that Joanna Sell, she's also a co-author of books and articles on storytelling in the intercultural field, and she's passionate of art. So, ladies and gentlemen, I invite now Joanna Sell to train us about storytelling tips and secrets.
So, Michaela, thank you so much. Thank you, Theatre Italia, for organizing this event. I'm really thrilled to be here, and we shouldn't be taken aback that it's the 13th, because actually in Italy, it's not the 13th that people believe that, is the bad number. It's the 17th. So people around the globe are superstitious and also share different stories depending where they are based. So actually in Italy, it's the 17th. In China, it's number 4 that brings bad luck. And here it's the 13th. And actually it's up to us if we believe it or not. And this is exactly the point also with stories and stories we share. Stories we share around cultures and across cultures can be fantastic in terms of mutual understanding and building bridges. And this is what I would like to do with you right now in this upcoming 2 hours. So let us get started. Yesterday and 2 days ago, we were in France because, George and Grazia were in the south of France. So with Air France, we are right now flying to Milano, where our storytelling event is taking place. Even if it's virtually, with my soul, I'm over there with you, Michaela, drinking a cup of cappuccino. And yes, before we get on the plane, there is always a check-in. So please write down in the chat window in what corner touch the ground, and in the tricky times, what is a quote or a saying that drives you now? So what is the inspiring sentence? It can be a proverb, it can be a quote, it can be a sentence you still remember from the childhood that is really important in these days. So please be so kind, use the chat window and share with us answers to these 2 questions. I think there's so many. Yeah, thank you, Michaela. I also see here people joining from Morocco, Rabat, everyone welcome. And also from the place where I'm based, from Hanover. Hi, Tina. So great to see all of you. And we have also the first sentences. Life is really playing crazy games with us these days. So what is keeping us up is keep calm and carry on. And also, you know, having a lemonade out of lemon. So yes, if life gives you a lemon, make lemonade out of it. Such sentences are incredibly important nowadays. And actually, when you think of it, this is the point that all these quotations, all these proverbs, the sayings are actually these pieces of wisdom passed on from generation to generation in many, many cases, and based on stories. So every such a short question is actually a story. And as we are having our story tasting today in the role of events where we are really cooking some methods and some approaches, I would like to share a short story with you that dates back also to my childhood. And the reason why there is such a sentence that keeps me up right now. So I come originally from Poland, and I still remember one day when we were, so to say, also locked down. It wasn't the lockdown because of Corona, it was the lockdown because of the Iron Curtain back then. So as a kid, I still remember we couldn't really travel. We were only allowed to travel in the so-called Eastern European countries, so Eastern Bloc. And even this was really pretty tricky to conduct. So we had a family reunion with all these, you know, yummy dishes you can imagine here. You can also see here in the picture. And my grandma was over there, her sister, some cousins, and also our moms. And what actually happened over there, they said, oh, you know, you need to learn languages. You need to learn foreign languages because they are the door openers. And we looked at them. I mean, my cousins, we were back then, I don't know, maybe 9, 10, completely shocked. And we said, what are you talking about? Why should we learn any foreign languages if we don't travel anywhere and nobody comes to visit us? So, you know, there was no point in such effort. And I still remember my grandma, who looked at us pretty disappointed because she herself, she had this, you know, beautiful time when she was young, and she was born in 1920, when she was allowed to go everywhere in the world. She was, that was possible, maybe not the world, but Europe back then. And she really enjoyed it a lot. She also spoke different languages. And she seems to be very disappointed. And she looked at us and she said, you know what, one day this curtain will fall. And you need to believe in your dreams. You need to believe that it will happen. And so it was really, really shocking to us as a child because it was so completely insane what she was talking about. How is it possible that such a crazy system collapses? And as all of us, we know, this is what happened. So this lockdown and this sentence, believe in your dreams, is something that is also part of our reality right now. So, you know, I have 2 teenagers home, and there are also moments when they say, oh, mom, homeschooling, forget it. It's a disaster. Why should we, you know, invest time and energy if nobody really knows what's going on next? So this is exactly the point with stories, that stories can be extremely empowering, even if they are put only in one sentence. And this is something I would like to ask you to do right now. So in the group of 3, share a moment when you are really amazed about the power of the saying that you have chosen. Yeah, welcome back from the breakout rooms. And I'm
Yes.
really eager and thrilled to hear from some of you what has happened in the breakout rooms. What stories did you share and what actually was a surprise maybe for someone?
Actually, it was interesting to see we shared only 3 sayings, but all the 3 sayings were related to the current situation.
Yeah.
And how we deal with it and how we hope or think that the next day will be a better one, or
Yeah.
how we respond to the current situation, and by responding in a positive way create a different reality, sort of.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because Bettina shared her saying, which was, Bettina, please help me. The only one thing that you can do when it's raining, just to let the rain.
Just to let it rain, yeah.
To let it rain, yeah. And she was extending it on this quotation and finished by the words, if you can't change this situation, you can change your attitude towards it. It was exactly my saying, which I used, and so I continued.
I'm happy to share.
Yeah.
We had saying, I wrote down "these two shall pass," and as we were talking with the ladies in my group, I was sharing with them this is just another. I mean, we've come through other pandemics as well, and this is just another one, and I'm sure this is not going to be the last one. So it's just another something else that is different to what we perceived as norm before it happened. I think for a lot of people who hasn't seen many things, they might think, oh, this is just the worst thing that can happen. The way I see it is just another one, another phase that will pass eventually. And anything that I cannot control, I wouldn't want to even think about it. If it's out of my control, we just let it be and let it pass.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, because this is exactly what is really interesting in this intercultural context, that when we think of the culture as a set of stories, and this is a beautiful quote by Jerome Brunner, the cultural psychologist, we immediately see that we are, so to say, entering different worlds of obviousness. Yeah, so the approach, how we are actually dealing with struggles, with challenges, is very much rooted not only in our upbringing, our character, our personal approach, but definitely also in our experiences, and also experiences of the cultures where we are, let's say, based, or where we are sharing also some time of our life in. So on our way to Milano right now, we are still on the plane, flying above Austria with this culture as a set of stories, but also this Austria, and as you see here, landing in Milano, where also culture is a set of stories that we enter, and it varies a little bit from, you know, these different realities. And still, when we think of culture in terms of reducing the complexity, as all of us we know, it's pretty tricky, because it's always about the generalizations, about, you know, maybe even entering the world of stereotypes from time to time. When we think of this culture as simply a set of stories that we enter, it completely changes our approach, our attitude. So immediately we are more curious, we are more attentive, we are more eager to listen to different stories, and also to share our stories, so that people can understand what kind of world of obviousness we are bringing with us. And so I would like to ask you right now, what is actually the reason why should we share stories in the intercultural field? And for this, I would like to ask you to take your devices and to type in the menti.com. Thank you, the answers are popping up right now, that it can be a door opener, stories are who we are, make people connect, it sports curiosity, make us closer to the other world, easy to remember, gives us a soil of truth, yeah, makes us easy to get context, engage, and also bring emotions. Yes, definitely. So there's one more idea I would like to give you how to work with stories, which is called open-end stories. The open-end stories are inspired by a beautiful story everybody knows from 1001 Nights. Think of this storytelling context and the curiosity with listening to different stories is really like with trying out new spices, new flavors. They enrich our lives and encourage us to experience new things. So stories are also used to awake curiosity. So the most important, or one of the most important values, so to say, in the intercultural field, because this is the moment when we are curious, when we are in this creative mode, we want to know something new, automatically we are ready to expand our comfort zone and to listen to something completely new. And this is also the moment when I would like to share a short story with you regarding an open-end story. Some time ago, a friend of mine who is originally from Hong Kong invited us to the Chinese New Year to Hong Kong. And we went over there with a group of people. It was really, really interesting to see that on the New Year's Eve, we actually went to a restaurant with her friends, so her friends from Hong Kong. And what happened over there, we were served dishes, really yummy food. And everybody got a plate with 2 sets of chopsticks, white and black, to the left and to the right. And our host from Hong Kong encouraged us to start eating, and we didn't really do it, you know, because we felt kind of intimidated. We didn't really know how to use the chopsticks, so to say, that it was kind of overwhelming that we have finally or suddenly 2 sets of chopsticks. So the question is, what do you think? You may share in the chat window, what is the reason for having these 2 sets of chopsticks? So here we have also some answers. Different colors of food. Oh, okay. One set for eating, the other for taking food from the table or platter. One of personal use, yes, and also that it happened to Anna as well. Just started using the black for everything, embarrassing moment. The white are meant to serve, the black to eat with, exactly. And, many of you have highlighted the right answer, that actually this rule got introduced because of SARS. So, you know, because of hygienical rules, people had to use 1 set of chopsticks to put the food from the platter onto your own plate, and then to use the other set of chopsticks to eat it. So exactly this was the point. We can enhance the story listening, but by such activities, because, you know, this is the moment that we not only self-reflect on the story that happened to a person, but also how maybe we would react in such a situation, what is our world of obviousness, so to say, and how we would be, let's say, overwhelmed or maybe just relaxed in a similar situation based on our experience as well. So what I really love about story listening and also enhancing the story listening is thinking of it in terms of the Chinese sign for story listening, which is think. I hope I pronounce it in the right way. So those of you who know Chinese, you are very welcome to come up with a real pronunciation. So the sign thing stands for listening with the ears, so really hearing someone. Listening with the mind. This is the sign for the mind. The king is the mind, so to say. The mind is the king, better say. So really being very, very concentrated on all the processes in our brain. With 10 eyes, so to say, so really being a good observer. With the focus, so really paying attention what is said, and with the heart, so with the empathy. And this is also the reason why people who are involved in stories and work with stories put so much emphasis on story listening, because they also say that it reveals our attitude towards different generalizations, different completely new stories, and the self-reflection is much, much deeper. What is interesting in the storytelling context and also story listening context is that these are the parts of the brain that get activated. So the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for problem solving, the amygdala, responsible for emotions, and also hippocampus, responsible for formation of memories. And we know that when the brain detects an emotionally charged event, and it can be a story that is told in an emotional way, the amygdala releases dopamine into the system. And the dopamine greatly adds memory and information processing. This is actually the reason why skillfully used images, descriptions of events involving our senses and emotions will be always remembered much, much better than a chain of abstract concepts. And this is also one of this additional reason why it's so important to use stories in the intercultural programs, so that people don't remain on this level of understanding. Oh, okay, so this is high context, this is low context, this is maybe, I don't know, more linear thinking, this is more complex thinking pattern, and so on and so forth, but that they can really address different cultural differences, but also different similarities through stories. What I actually wanted to show you also with this activity, we can be really playful with stories. We can use it also for, storytelling for the future. We can obviously also dream together, so to say, And this is also something that is extremely important in our days, that we think already right now how we would like to co-create this future also together, and how we want to spend time together when we have the opportunity again to do it, so that we have meaningful conversations that were moved to the virtual space for a while, and that we have got the courage to share the stories of vulnerability during the corona crisis, so that we see also, all of us, because this is also the point when what we experience in different breakout rooms, that we weren't the only ones who struggled.